This is Jackie Naaman Jones, and this is Jackie's Hand of Horror. Today I bring you my co-host, Tanya Atomic.
Hello.
And Rachel Jackson.
Aloha.
Today's subject is a big furry guy that we call Bigfoot. So today on Bigfoot time, for our movie trailer review, we did the 1976 Curse of Bigfoot. And to tell you the truth, we tried to watch two different trailers and we couldn't make it through either one of them. Not even through the trailers. And I have to tell you, this film was Riff Tracks had done it, and we were watching the unriffed trailer. It's really, really bad. And just like the other movie that we reviewed today, I was in this film as well in high school. Just one little scene, but it is one of my claims to fame.
Yeah, are there any movies about Bigfoot that you're not in, Jackie?
No, actually,
okay.
we've got a lot more. So it's going to be a long night.
They're better than this one.
No, I'm kidding. That's it for my Bigfoot career.
Yeah, I was going to say, I felt like this is a movie that would have been like a Rift movie.
Yes.
A Mystery Science Theater or something like that. Like long, boring pauses, things that, seemed thrown together. I mean, just from the trailer.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Just in the trailer,
Just in the trailer. Like, the trailer was too long. Like, not only would I not watch this movie, I would not recommend watching the trailer. We're going to give you the link. Don't click on it.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Well,
the trailer.
It's your choice, but
2 minutes of it is too much.
This one's painful. It's really painful. Mm-hmm. I personally, even though I was in a very small scene, a classroom scene, I have to admit I have never seen the entire film.
Have you not? Because it's on YouTube too, so we could watch that right now.
No. I tried. I no.
Couldn't get through it.
No.
So my least favorite thing about the trailer was that the guy hunting in the woods who had a stocking cap on that had obviously never been worn before. Such a tiny detail, but like so they paid no attention to any details whatsoever. Pacing, cinematography, wardrobe.
No, because there's a scene in there where you do see the Bigfoot closer, and I've always described him as a guy in a meat suit. Because it looks like he's wearing raw meat rather than fur. It's weird. So anyway, we've talked.
That makes me want to see the movie.
Oh, a meat suit?
You know what?
Gosh, why?
We've talked twice as long about this film as we could even watch the trailer. I think that's funny in itself there. So we definitely do not recommend this movie, and if you watch it, you really don't have to tell us anything about it.
Yeah.
We're good. Our movie trailer review is Primal Rage, The Legend of Oma. It's a 2018 film just released, and we watched the trailer. It's hard for me to be objective on this because I was actually in this film. Just a very small part, but the cool thing is my ex-husband, my children, my grandchildren, I got my whole family involved because I got to be a location coordinator on a couple of scenes.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I did not see any of you in the trailer.
No.
Okay.
Nope, not that scene. That's not in there. Because it's so special.
Right.
No.
You're gonna say you gotta go see the movie if you want to see Jackie's face.
That's right.
And Jackie's family's faces. I want to say, for starters, and this is unusual because I love trailers, this trailer turned me off with the words in the middle of it.
Oh.
That you think you know the story.
Cutting in between, yeah.
Think again. It's like,
Okay.
oh, for God. Okay, A of all, I don't think I know the story because I've not heard of Oma. And I actually know squat about Sasquatch, except that he's supposedly around here where we live. So so it was like assuming some stuff, but in a snotty way that I didn't like.
So the wording put you off.
It did.
Put you off. Okay. Yeah.
I'm still going to see it because you're in it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If it were just the trailer, I might be kind of like,
Really?
about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna say it seemed like more of a serious one than the ones we've been seeing a lot of tongue-in-cheek kind of ones. And I wasn't sure, where it was going, but every once in a while they'll cut to some crazy special effects thing that looked so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And when it did that, I was like, wait, what's that? I want to see this.
Yeah. In fact, we have sort of like a still shot of one of the close-ups of one of the creatures, and it's awesome.
Yeah, I have to say the costuming, it is really amazing. Patrick Magee, who did this film, spent like 6 years building that. He's worked on so many films like Alien versus Predator and what was the one with Jim Carrey, the Dr. Seuss film?
Oh,
Cat in the Hat?
He did, yeah.
Oh, all right. Wow.
No, The Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Oh, the other
He
one.
did
Yeah.
all the
Oh,
makeup,
right.
the makeup,
Yeah.
costuming. So anyway, he's very, very talented, and I agree with you on the trailer. It doesn't show what that film really is, but it is a very serious film, and I like it, and not just because I was in it.
yeah, I feel like I might get the tone, and then I feel like they show you enough of the little like whoa, these cool creatures, but not very much.
Yeah,
Yeah, there
Just
were
enough
lots
to let
of...
you know they were there.
Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, the cool creature makeup might be enough to outweigh the other stuff for me.
yeah. Okay.
I'm going to see it anyway.
Well, hi, here we are back with our Bigfoot episode. And first thing we're going to talk about is our idea section, our forefinger. And for that today, we have Nudia Aguilar as one of our new co-hosts. Hello. Thank you. So today for this segment, we're going to talk about how best to photograph Bigfoot in the wild. Now, I know I've done a little bit of research. How about you guys? Got any good ideas?
Well, I guess one of the best ways is to find out where Bigfoot would be. Like, where's the environment that you'd find Bigfoot, and kind of stalk that out and learn as much as you can about Bigfoot's natural habits.
Yeah, in fact, I found a website about a guy. What was it called? Oh, the book is called Wildlife Photography, Advanced Film Technique for Tracking Elusive Animals. I'm sure the title took up the entire cover, but but he had some really good tips. You know, one thing, like you just said, you identify the target-rich environment, researching habits of target species. Ooh, I like this tracking and calling technique.
I skimmed through that. You sent us the link. My favorite idea in there was having a decoy animal to lure in whatever animal you're trying to catch.
Like what? Your dog?
I don't mean like prey animal. I mean, like in the case of a Bigfoot, I'm thinking I would build a Bigfoot-shaped decoy sort of thingy.
Oh,
Maybe a lady Bigfoot if we were trying to capture a man Bigfoot, or a man Bigfoot, or a gender fluid Bigfoot. I don't really know about Bigfoot's gender orientation.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's what I was going to say. Prior to everything, I think we need to find him, her, or it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, proving existence would be the first step, I suppose, but that's part of the reason for attempting to photograph such a creature.
Right.
I mean, we're in luck where we live up here. It's supposedly Washington State and Oregon State are Bigfoot central. So
Correct.
So these are the Bigfoot-rich environments up here.
yes,
That's
yes,
what they
in theory.
say.
Also, a lot of beardy guys in beanie caps. Those are not Bigfoot. Do not be confused.
Right.
Oh, yeah, don't get those mixed up.
And actually, however, we have different countries' version of Bigfoot. Like in Mexico, the chupacabra.
Right.
Right.
And
right.
Or
Yeah.
Sasquatch is also known as Sasquatch.
The
Right.
abominable.
The abominable snowman really needs to work out a little bit more.
There you go. No.
Yeah, I'm not going to take pictures of either of the snow beasts though, because I don't like being cold. So yeah.
But that's where he lives. You know, there's a guy in my town that's about probably 6'6", and he kind of looks like Bigfoot. He's a logger too. He spends a lot of time in the woods.
See, he could be our decoy, Jackie.
He could.
Now, something definitely worth thinking about is pop culture leads me to believe that one of the best ways to lure a Bigfoot into your photograph area would be with a bag of beef jerky.
Oh, really?
There are all those commercials that are messing with Sasquatch.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
That makes me think they like beef jerky.
Well,
Okay, maybe he's vegetarian.
it could be.
We're going to need beef jerky for me anyway if we're dragging me out to the
Right.
woods
Yeah.
for several hours.
Okay, for the photographer. Okay, I got that.
The real test, I think, is put a beef jerky out on a blanket or a napkin and put a giant box with a stick
Yeah.
and see if we can catch one. Then we'd know for sure.
Sure. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'll leave it to you guys and you bring back the pictures, okay?
So you're sending us to the wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're making me
Can you send your lumberjack friend too? He can protect us with his
Yeah.
axe.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I've seen that guy with a chainsaw and he's
Perfect.
formidable. Well, all of these things, the hunting techniques and these things we'll put on our Facebook page,
Yes.
Jackie's Hand of Horror Facebook page.
Right. But I think we've left it as a good place. We're going to get a bag of beef jerky and head to the wilderness with a lumberjack and a chainsaw. I don't see how this goes wrong.
I know, and a blanket. We
Yeah.
need a blanket.
Figure this out.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Avoid the cold.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
They like blankets. All right, I'm waiting till spring though. Wait for it to warm up, okay?
I think it's a good idea.
All right.
Unless it's Bigfoot mating season, in which case, maybe
but
not.
see, we don't know. We don't know their.
Well-
And it's a catch-22. It's the chicken and egg thing. We just don't know. And we just gotta get started, I guess.
He might be hibernating anyways. Right?
Might
Yeah,
be.
because
True.
I think they behave. I mean, we don't know much about
Yeah.
it, right? But I think they behave similar than bears.
So, Nudie,
I want to believe
Yeah, they fuel up
Yeah.
on beef jerky in the
Yeah,
autumn
And
months.
and steal
And
some
then they hide-
blankets, and or just grab some blankets that are around,
yeah.
and they're good to go.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that in the next segment about hunting Bigfoot
Hunting, correct.
in a different way. All right, well, that's it on photographing Bigfoot, and those links and the information from our research will all be on our Facebook page. So my interview for this episode was with Patrick Magee, the creator of Primal Rage, that amazing Bigfoot film that I also got to have a small part in along with my family and my backyard, and my teepee got to be in it too. It almost sounds like Mono's, and my dog and my but well, I'm sitting here with Patrick Magee, and most people don't know you by name, but anyone who enjoys film will recognize your work. You've done practical effects, mechanical effects. Do you call it animatronics?
A portion of my work is animatronics. I actually don't do the actual animatronics, but I worked on stuff that requires that.
So what are some of the things that your work has been in, some of the films?
Well, when I started in this special effects field 20 years ago, I was fortunate to kind of get in right when it was at the end of the peak of practical effects. So I was able to work at Stan Winston Studios, which did the Jurassic Park movies, and I worked on like Jurassic Park 3.
Wow.
So I got to work on the big dinosaurs, and I was mainly there as a technician doing the molds and castings and stuff, but got to experience 40, 50, 60 foot size dinosaurs.
That's incredible.
And they had a team of like hydraulic people and electronic people doing the animatronics, which is the movement side of it, whereas I was with like making the skins and the molds and all that.
And that was your first real job in the industry? Or
yeah, or my early career. As a freelance guy, you kind of bounce around from shop to shop, so job to job. So I'd work in some smaller shops when music videos were a big deal then. We'd work on tons of music videos. Each video could have $2, $3, $4, $6 million budgets.
wow.
So we would do, animatronic stuff, bodies, detailed small makeups, kind of everything. It's funny how this field we can go from making like a small little nose tip to then working on a giant dinosaur. And that's kind of the spectrum of this work.
That's true. So you'll never get bored.
Exactly. Yeah. No, no, that's the point of the job. Yeah. It's exciting that, you're working typically on new adventurous things all the time.
Yeah.
It can be the same thing twice, of course, but the fact that you can go, wow, today we're working on a 10-foot dinosaur head. And then actually when I was at Stan Winston's, simultaneously they had this Steven Spielberg's AI movie, which was all robotic stuff and small robotic parts. So then I'd switch from doing that to then working on these little small robotic part molds and casting all these little small things. So it's pretty extreme.
Yeah, I like that movie. And you've done a lot of other movies. What was it, 2001 you did something on Spider-Man?
Yeah, that was another shop I worked for. Again, just as a hired gun. I worked on the first Spider-Man movie. So it was like the Green Goblin suits and Spider-Man suits. So it's all, again, molds and castings and different parts for that. I was a part of a big group of people on that.
Now, in Alien versus Predator, you built those?
Same shop that did Spider-Man. I got to be involved with that. Interesting story for the very first Alien Predator. It was a very exciting time in the business. It was the first movie of that type where, you had the Alien franchise and the Predator franchise finally merging as a movie because they were so big in the comics. And I had been a part of another project where I had my own Predator suit that fit me. So I actually got to go in early and wear a suit and wrestle around with that company's Alien and shoot the first Alien versus Predator footage before the actual build began.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was neat to see it, see these two characters kind of together for the first time.
So most all this work's been with other studios. Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Yeah, so then, during, aside from my earlier years, I started kind of getting the connections and meeting the right people. I was then starting to pull my own jobs, work out of my garage, and then kind of grew out of my garage and got a small industrial space and kind of grew from there to where maybe 10, 11 years into my career, I started doing a lot of stuff with Universal Studios theme park, and they do a Grinchmas event. So I had to get a pretty large crew together to pull that off, and we've done that yearly or seasonally, in the month of December for this is my 8th year now.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I love that movie too. I'm looking at all the films that you've done or been part of, and I love them all, but they're all so different. And like you said, going from AI from a small piece to Jurassic Park, big dinosaurs, that's just fascinating. And then I met you several years ago because you needed some advice on a scene for a film that you were working on that you have since completed. Primal Rage, The Legend of Oma. It's an amazing Bigfoot film. I've been fortunate enough to see it in the theater when you had that special release for cast and crew and some other folks last fall. When was that?
It's already been a year.
Oh my gosh.
February of 2017.
Tell us, you got to talk to us about this. Now, how long were you working on that film? This is your film. You directed it. You wrote it with Jay Lee.
Yeah, it's a long story.
That's okay.
And the process was long. But around 2004-05, I had gotten to the point with, again, I'd worked for these other studios. I'd done my own projects, and I kind of felt I'd gotten to the point where I wanted to make my own monster, specifically a Bigfoot. I'd always kind of drawn versions of him ever since I was young, and Harry and the Hendersons kid come out, I saw it in theaters.
Oh, yeah.
And then that same year, the Predator movie came out, within weeks. And Harry's a really soft, cute, nice guy, remarkably well done. But I always liked the idea of kind of combining the Predator, this kind of evil, warrior, with the Bigfoot thing. That's always kind of been in the back of my head. I was, I think, 11 when that came out. So I'd always been sitting on that for years. And then finally in 2005, I was like, I'm going to make a Bigfoot. I'm going to make a suit. I've thought about it. And I really was thinking, like, there's been a few movies since that movie, but not the one I wanted to see. So I was like, I'm going to try it. Like, how hard would it be to do a Bigfoot movie if I keep it simple?
Yeah.
And
and you were thinking that back
2005. So I actually did. I tried researching and finding really tall people. I wanted to get a really tall person in it, and then I realized after a while, I found a couple, but I don't know. I wasn't sure if they were right for the. They were tall, they were athletic, but I don't know if they had the right mind frame to play this thing.
Can I stop you just a second? Because people that don't know, you don't realize how tall you are.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to get to. I realized, like, after a while, I was like, I played the Predator briefly, and I was like, I'm the tallest person I know, I think.
Yes.
And I'm going to be the most available to make this thing, so I reluctantly chose to just start building it on me.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, in 2005, I started the design of it, and then, and I would just work on it as much as I could in between jobs and with any free time and spare change I had to start building it. So in like 2008, I was like, okay, let's do the head. And then the next year I worked on the hands and the feet. And after a couple years, just got to the point where I accumulated all the pieces to kind of assemble the first prototype suit.
Uh-huh.
And, it was like, it was always just something to do, and it was a hobby. And meanwhile, I'm trying to develop a story for now. And now I got to figure out how to make a movie to go around this thing I'm making.
Right.
So that was 2008. I started making this thing, and then it took, I think, until the very beginning of 2013, I had a completed suit. And if I were to backtrack from there, I think it was around 2011, I had shared all my script ideas with Jay Lee, who and I've known for quite a few years. He's a writer, director, cinematographer, editor, jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And I known him for many years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and done a lot of effects for his movies. And, again, kind of being an effects guy always first. And it's like you have your own ideas, but you don't have a lot of confidence in thinking they're the best or the greatest. And I remember it was like around 2011, I just kind of shared with him 10, 12 pages of all these notes I accumulated. And he was like, oh, I'm intrigued. And I was like, look then I'm making this whole suit. So help. I needed help, and it was like, I need another person's perspective to add to my ideas. Mm-hmm. And boy, did he add. I left the notes with him and I said, hey, let's put together a screenplay. And he added a whole bunch of notes.
Okay.
And then, so for a couple of years there, we developed the script, and then in 2013, I had a suit. We went out and just started test shooting it. I wanted to make sure the thing worked and what it would look like, how it would hold up in trees and branches and mud and gunk. Because
you're filming in the Northwest.
Yeah, and in isolated areas, and so I wanted to really just be double sure, and I had the time to do that. So we went out and shot some test stuff, and then it seemed promising, and I showed a lot of people, and they liked it. So then it was like, okay, now we got to figure out how to actually put everything together and make a movie.
Yeah.
And so that took another couple of years.
Yeah. So, people need to know that when they see it or any film, and when it flows, and don't have all these questions in their head while it's flowing, it's because there's such a tremendous amount of work in there to make it look like it's simple, to make it look like it flows that way. And just the dedication and time you put into this film for so many years. And visually, it's beautiful. I think it's a really good film. I knew it would be, but when I saw it in the theater, oh man, I was so excited. And I was just so honored to be just a tiny piece of that, to be associated with this film. And
yeah, I think the knee-jerk reaction, especially if it's a Bigfoot movie, people have preconceived idea of what that's going to be, and that's working for and against me. People are familiar with it. They know the subject matter to a certain degree, and the point of making this movie was to kind of throw a curveball in there and present it in a different way.
Yeah.
So I think it is a surprise. And yeah, that is the trick with making any movie, is to try to make it look natural and organic. And I mean, this movie has its flaws without a doubt, and especially with the limited budget. But there's a lot of surprises, and I think good decisions based on the limitations we had that make the movie, you know, like you said, flow and look a little much more grandiose than what we had to work with.
And that's the dedication. You know, your crew, your people, your actors, everybody was just so dedicated to this project, but it does not look like a limited budget film, not to me.
Yeah, that was another great thing is, you know, by the time we came to shoot it, I remember like 2015, so I worked at that point 18 years in this business, and I had accumulated a good group of people to help me. And obviously when you show people how much work you put into it, and if they like it, then they're drawn in, and you're able to pull them in to where you can get the best out of other people. And if, you know, you're real upfront with it, you know, it was amazing. I was absolutely blown away with, you know, we had crew maxed out at maybe 10. But then even with post-production, which, you know, the crew gets bigger, just people seeing the product, everybody stepped up. There's not one complaint, and I've been on plenty of low budget movies where it's all complaining. And this was like amazing. Everybody multitasked. Everyone. I mean, my sound guy at one point was helping us dress the sets for the interior of the sheriff's station, and everybody chipped in. It was a whole total group effort, and it's just kind of amazing. And it's unfortunately, you know, you're so wrapped up into it. I wish I had more time to kind of stop and sit back and absorb it all and really appreciate it, but you can't. And it's more of an afterthought, and you're like, oh my gosh, this person did this, and they did this as well. And it's like my makeup crew did the wardrobe, and then they did the props, and then they would help get craft service and make sure the actor had a hot drink. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, that's the only way you can do it. So I definitely, you know, called in every favor, and they were, you know, and I got everything in return for sure.
They stepped up. I mean, just the couple days that you were up at my place and setting up those scenes, it was so impressive and such a pleasure to be around everybody, you know, and the way they worked together, and the way they were so kind and comfortable at my home, and you know, it was just like having more family, hardworking people, though.
Yeah, we were definitely a family for sure. It was a small group, and when you put these things together, and if you got a couple one bad apple, or just one person not in line, it brings the whole thing down. So
when you're working so many hours,
so there's no room for it, because you get grumpy. Everyone has their moments, and you're tired, exhausted, and someone can veer off. Right. But you know, we had to every night we ended up finishing our day, because we typically shot until the sun went down, and then we'd go back to the hotel, shower, regroup, and it's like, well, we're all going to dinner together now. You know, so
that's the other thing. Nobody gets to go home.
Since we were shot, and that was a big benefit too, is that shooting where we did, I mean, obviously it looked great, but then taking this group, staying at a hotel, and we're all stuck there. It's like, what else are you going to do? You know, nobody had to. Half the time the phones didn't work, so that was to my benefit as well. It wasn't like they could be on their phone, or I got this other job, or I got to go home, I got to go deal with this thing. It's like, we're here, I got you.
Cell service in the forest can be a little sketchy.
Yeah, so
I know that.
I mean, and the whole project, having the time, I can say it and beat it to death, but time is so important, and that was the other thing I've seen with so many independent movies is, you know, you kind of prepare for it, and then typically when the financing comes through, then it's a kind of a rush and go, and it can kill a production. But having the knowledge of working on a lot of other independent movies and seeing what was right and wrong, but just having the time that we had in pre-production to kind of figure it all out, just made the world of difference.
Well, and it shows. Personally, I'm so excited. I know you're having what are you calling this release on February 27th?
Yeah, so it's the theatrical release. It's like it's I guess we would call it a traditional release. It's very lucky. It's, I think, in just under 400 theaters.
Wow.
The catch is it's not a whole weekend or a week or whatever it could be for a traditional release. It's a one night special event for a Fathom event through its AMC theaters, Regal Cinema, and Newmark Theater or Cinemark theaters, which I think they go more into the East Coast. And Fathom Events is putting it on.
Okay.
They saw the potential it has,
That's
and
amazing.
we're getting a somewhat pretty wide release nationally.
I think that's great. I know it's showing close to my home, so my family are all excited to go see it. I'm currently in Los Angeles, and so I'm going to go see it with you and the other cast and crew that are in the LA area. Unfortunately for this podcast, this particular episode is airing like a week later, but I'm going to see you at that release, and I'm going to get a few words from you and maybe a couple people in the audience. I'm so excited about this. But after that, do you know yet how people can find your film?
Yeah, there's a 90-day, I guess, holdback is what they call it, to make 90 days from that release to where, at least domestically in the U.S., it'll be, I'm pretty sure, a video on demand rental. I think it'll even be on DVD, so it might be Redbox rentals, or even in a store. I have get the fine details, but I know. So what does that put us to? March, April, so end of May.
Oh, okay.
It should be really accessible.
Great. Well, and I have a Facebook page and Twitter, and I'll put all that information on there and keep things updated for people so that they can find you. Also, I'm going to post some of your YouTube videos. You have an FX reel that's really, really good. I've shown it to a number of people, and I like watching them watch it because they always like go, ooh, and they have to look away. Most people can't just watch it raw the whole way through because it's kind of shocking and wonderful. So this is Jackie's Hand of Horror, so we got to have a little horror in there. So now that you're not done with this, obviously, but you're done with the filming and all of that, are you already thinking about another project, or are you just like got to take a breath for a while?
Well, both. And I've got tons of ideas. I have 2 and maybe a third that I'm very dialed in on.
Okay.
But I want to wait and see what happens with this to really see where it lands. And I realize, this took so long and it was such a labor of love. And again, I pulled so many favors and asked so many people to kind of donate on this that I want to, if there's an opportunity to do it, another one, I want to make sure I have a little more financing and I can reward that same group because they're fantastic. I'd bring all them back, and I'd love to do. I have an idea for a sequel. I have an idea for a werewolf movie. Ooh, I love werewolves.
Yeah.
And then I have a third idea too as well. So actually maybe even a fourth. I mean, I fill with ideas as an artist, but a couple that I'm really dialed in on. And I've got notes on them as well. I just haven't. I also want to take a breather to just sit back and just see what happens.
Yeah, well, and then once that happens, I'll bet some doors are going to open. Hopefully. Out of this too.
I mean, I guess more than anything, I'm prepared. I'm ready to at least have something if some doors open up.
Well, anything you do, let me know. I'll do anything. I would do anything. So to wrap up, I'm wondering, do you have any advice for people that want to explore either cosplay or building, doing anything like this kind of work?
Well, yeah, as far as the world of special effect or any kind of creative work, and obviously this is, for me, it's like monsters or aliens or robots. The only advice is, especially, there's doing it for fun, and then there's trying to do it professionally, is to realize, it's a job, and it's not necessarily just playtime,
Yeah.
That's a really hard thing when you're at home and it's your own project that you're into. It's really easy to just, hours can fly by, and you don't have a problem spending some of your own money to do this, that, or the other. But to doing it professionally, you're a hired gun. You're a commercial artist.
Yes.
And that it might not necessarily be the most, the thing you're interested in the most, but you got to do it and you got to be professional. So my advice is to treat, if you want to approach this thing from a working standpoint, is it's a business, and that it's hard work and it's not just kind of playtime.
Yeah.
But I think a really important thing is to know how to do as much as you can. Everybody likes certain elements of the work, but the more you know how things work, then the more you can typically, get to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then within all that, if you can kind of know the broad spectrum of how things work, is then to focus in on one element that you probably like the most. Like everybody you'll tend to gravitate towards one element and then be the best at that.
Yeah.
To where, that way you can constantly work in that little spectrum that you kind of excel at or enjoy the most. There's a lot of competition, and I think, I see a lot of new people's work, and there's so much competition. So just when you think you're good, there's 30 other people better.
Yeah.
And so to always be competitive with yourself and be your worst critic, and not feel that, oh, I did this, look, it looks pretty good, hey, that's pretty amazing, I've never done anything like that. It's like, no, there's 100 other people that are just starting just like you, and they did it 100 times better.
Yeah.
So always kind of be your worst critic, I think, is really crucial. Not to where you're so hard on yourself, but to be realistic and realize to constantly, better yourself. You got to be harsh on yourself to a certain degree.
And that's how you got where you are with your work and had the opportunities that you've had so far.
It's working out, and I still got a ways to go, a long ways to go.
Which is as it should be.
Yeah.
Because once we're at the end, we're at the end.
Yeah, and that's the other cool thing about art itself, is that, it never ends. I mean, that's just it. You don't retire from this kind of a field. If you're an artist, you're always doing art, and whether it's writing and sculpting or painting or anything, music, anything, all art forms. That's the great thing about art is there is no end.
Yes.
And you should always kind of evolve and progress and refine and all those things.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do next. I can't wait for other people to see this film. So thank you so much for your time today. And I'm sitting here in one of your workspaces. I just have to say this. I'm looking at these shelves, a pile of hands, a pile of arms. Over there's a bunch of heads. Looks like the girl from The Exorcist crouched down on the corner of the room over there.
Werewolves, alien heads, is a witch.
It's pretty amazing. This is a lot of fun. I could have fun here. Well, thanks, Patrick. And we'll get it out there and let people know how they can see it.
Great. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I got to go see the world premiere of it actually in Hollywood at the Universal City Walk Theater, which was just pretty amazing theater on the Universal grounds. Patrick was there. Jay Lee is director of photography. A lot of the cast and crew were there. And it was the world premiere. And it showed at AMC theaters around the country, not close to everybody, but close enough that a lot of people could go see it. And then it'll be out on DVD soon, and I'll definitely post about how it'll be available. But this movie was really good, and it's a different kind of Bigfoot story. It's about how through the way the world has come and environmental changes, how it's affected everything in the world, including Bigfoot. And he kind of goes in a different direction and starts fighting back. And it's just not only is it just so well filmed and beautifully shot, and and good actors, but the story has a lot of deep threads to it that stick with you even after you've seen the film. And once you get past some of the horror, because it is a horror film and there's people getting torn up a bit, it's pretty cool. So I just wanted to say that I went to the film and got to watch it with the filmmakers, and what an amazing experience that was. And when it does come out, I hope you all get to go see it.
Can I ask you a question
Yes.
real quick? Was it hard watching yourself on screen, on big screen?
Not so much now. I think just because I've been practicing at it for so many years, being I was gonna say a guppy, being what would I be? Kind of a model for our friends and doing every project that comes along. It took me a long time to get used to seeing myself on camera. I think seeing myself in Monos Returns is a lot harder than seeing myself in this. And probably only because I have so much more of an investment in Monos Returns.
And it's so meaningful for you.
Yeah, deeply meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So today on our ring finger, for the things that we love, we're talking about Bigfoot, and we've got Nudia Aguilar here with us again for this segment.
Thank you.
And we're talking about Bigfoot as a protected species. And we actually did a little bit of research, and it turns out that Bigfoot, since 2012, has been on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife list of endangered species. It's actually a protected species.
Cool.
Yeah.
I find it interesting how there's laws in California about how you cannot
Right.
hunt Bigfoot or any other creature that's not on their list. However, as far as what I've read, that it is perfectly legal to hunt them in
Well, I looked at-
Texas,
Yeah.
as long as you're on private property and you get permission from the owners of the property, or if it's
Right.
your
Well, I
property.
looked at too, but then I looked at the dates, and that was 2012, and then also late in 2012, that's when Bigfoot was put on the Fish and Wildlife list. So I think after that point it was
So-
no longer legal.
Okay.
So
That was before that. So now it is not
so
legal at
this
all.
may be awkward, but I read that article and I don't think it was a real article. I think that was a joke article, like a satire.
Oh, the one about hunting them in Texas?
No, the one about the being on the U.S. Federal Fish and
You
Wildlife
sure?
Protected. Yes.
How about the 1975 list being officially recognized with the Army Corps of Engineers?
I didn't see that one, so I don't know.
Yeah, in fact, they had, I mean, I don't know. God, that's funny. I tried to look back on that one, and it sure looked real to me. Damn fake news, fake news. Fake news.
It sounded weird to me, so I read some of the comments and some of those people said it. So I Google searched the name of the alleged spokesperson, and she doesn't show up ever again attached to any other thing.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that's real.
But there still may or may not be this 1975 thing, which may or may not be true about
Yeah,
a
and
creature
that was
that may or may
that's
not
all
Army
exist.
Corps of Engineers, so that wouldn't be necessarily national. But it did say for the Army Corps of Engineers, they were showing their booklet, and it's described in the Washington Environmental Atlas, it says, as standing as tall as 12 feet and weighing as much as half a ton, covered in long hair except for face and hands, and having a distinctive human-like form. Well, I'm going to have to do a little more research on this because, all these different things we're reading.
Yes.
I mean, the thing with it being legal in Texas and not legal in Washington and California seemed legit. All of that stuff seemed like it was for real.
Like a state law thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found interesting about it was I thought it kind of revealed a sort of intrinsic difference between the thoughts about hunting in Texas versus the thoughts about hunting here on the West Coast? Because in both cases, it was because this animal isn't mentioned, then ... And in Texas, ... is feel free to kill it.
Yes,
and out here, ... is please don't kill it. You know what I mean?
I did catch that. I was thinking the same thing. And, and here's one of those times I go, yeah, I know. I'm a fifth generation Texan. What am I going to say? I'm not a hunter, though.
Exactly. I was going to say that. I'm not a hunter.
I wouldn't shoot anything. I definitely have more the mindset.
Well, in my personal case, it would be either I would be terrified by seeing him, spotting him in a place where maybe I am just hiking, or fascinated. So it's either horrified or fascinated with the bare existence of him, just by being able to spot him.
Yeah.
Right. Not being like, let me shoot it.
Yeah. Exactly. Unless you have a camera.
Correct.
Right. I agree. I just
picture hunting.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel that way about it.
But I'm saying horrified as well. So maybe someone who is carrying a gun just for self-protection or survival reaction might hit him or shoot him.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. I could totally forgive someone for accidentally shooting a Bigfoot because they were freaked out. It's just more of the trophy hunting of Bigfoot that I'm like, why?
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, like mount the hands and feet, or sit around with his cigar smoking buddies, and a snifter of brandy. Oh, wow! No kidding.
Right?
That's why they hide from us.
Well, wait till you all see Primal Rage. Oh man. Man, oh man.
Nice.
so good. Hi. Today's episode is on the subject of Bigfoot. And I've got Aradia here again for our Pinky section. And Aradia, say hi.
Hi!
Oh, that's a good Bigfoot voice. Awesome. Good way to start, honey. I love this kid.
Apparently Bigfoot said hi,
Apparently so. And you know what? Because of where we live in Oregon and the Northwest, that's where Bigfoot is from. Did you know that? Did you know, Aradia, did you know that Bigfoot doesn't live all over the place? He only lives in a few places, and we live in one of those places.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't mean like downtown Dallas, the town you live in, or even Falls City, the town I live in, but out in the forest, out in the woods. They say Bigfoot's up there.
Oh, where Grandpa goes hunting?
Yeah, well, where people go hunting, yeah.
Like Grandpa?
Like Grandpa.
Cool.
So, what do you know about Bigfoot? What have you heard?
He's, some people believe, I read a book on, Epic about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And it says, one person one time, while he was out in the woods, he heard something, so he took a picture. It was a strange shadow, like a monkey, but a person.
Oh, but like really big though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
It's half.
In this episode of this podcast, we did a segment on how to photograph Bigfoot, how to get good video. Because, for some weird reason, nobody ever seems to get a good picture. I don't get that. What do you think's the problem?
He does hide behind trees.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, yeah, he's been out in the woods a long time, so he's probably got a lot more skills than most human.
Yeah. But some people think he was like way back in the he some people think he's a human, but he just ran out into the woods to live his own life.
You know what? Oh, I like that, honey. You know, there's a lot of us that would like to do that these days.
Yeah, some people think he wanted to go in the woods because all he wanted was to live a free life, no one bossing him, nothing.
I get
just running out of the woods, just fishing, being cool.
That sounds awesome. I want to do that.
I kind of do too.
Yeah? Maybe we'll go camping one time and, well, hopefully Bigfoot won't bother us. We'll just hang out together or something, right?
Bigfoot, both of us just hanging out.
Fishing.
Cool.
I like it. Yeah. I like it. Perfect.
Probably Bigfoot hasn't even been fishing before. We could teach him.
There you go. Well, he probably hasn't seen a pole before, but I bet he fishes better than most people.
Like he grabs a pole and starts whacking the ground with the pole. Like, it's a whacker, yeah.
It's a whacker. Well, I really enjoyed talking Bigfoot with you, honey. We're going to end for now on this episode, but we will. Let's really talk about and think about going camping. Maybe not to see Bigfoot, but just to go hang out together. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
All right, sweetie. I love you.
I love you too.
We'll talk to you on the next episode.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Jackie's Hand of Horror. For links and more information on the fun and sometimes horrible things we discuss, please visit us on Facebook at Jackie's Hand of Horror, and that's Jackie with an EY. Thanks again for listening today, and special thanks to the great people who come together to make this podcast possible. My co-host, Tanya Atomic and Rachel Jackson, and also Greg Talley, Ron McAdams, Natalie Ryan, and the rest of the crew at the Revival League podcast. Join us again in 2 weeks for another Jackie's Hand of Horror podcast.